think out of the 6 companies, we see that Terminal 3 and Custonomy were 2 of the highly ranked ones. After our discussion, would love to get everyone's views, but we can pick either 1 or 2 to proceed to the next round. So would anyone like to start by sharing their thoughts on Terminal 3 since it's the most highly ranked startup?
I didn't rank them as highest, but they seem very early stage versus the other ones. I think conceptually there's something that's interesting, but relative to the other candidates, seems earlier stage than I think.
Any other thoughts? I also ranked them as quite high. I think from a stage perspective, we felt that they were also early stage, but the market that they were going after compared to some of the other ones felt like it had more room for potential versus some of the other startups were operating in industries that were either very saturated or difficult to see a longer term sustainable angle. But would love to hear other thoughts too. Jess?
And I also rank the second one, the Custonomy, as at the first for my priority. And I can see that they have a practical business model, and as well as especially for the GBA area, I think they got a very sizable market that they can implement and to have end-to-end solutions. So I rank them as number 1, and the second one is also Terminal 3. I think among of all the judges, we have the same thought that the first one is the business model, and the second one is the practical. And if they can have more business scenario that they can present how they have a GTM plan, I think that would be much more practical on putting at a more higher scale. So I think that top 3, which is also my favorable company, that they can explain and also tell us about their business model.
Does this side of the judging panel have any comments? Kenny?
I didn't put the highest for Terminal 3 because I'm not exactly 100% clear of the business model. Maybe I'm not familiar with too much, but I think the one who talks about helping the Web3 engineers on the platform to develop application, is that Morpheus Labs?
Morpheus Labs, yeah.
I think that
low code.
Yeah, that one is, to me, I could understand very clear the business model, the competitive landscape, and how do they earn revenue. So I give them the highest mark.
What was your second highest?
Terminal 3 or Custonomy. Yeah, because I think it's relatively clear than the other ones, and better presentation, but of course, Custonomy and Terminal 3, each of them have its weakness but I think it turns out somehow the judges like Terminal 3.
I share what Kenny said. I think T3 has some uncertainty around its model. It's all based on the fact that people will sell access to their data, but it's not clear what's the enticement. I know it has not been, people have not been able to monetize it before, but what technology do you have to entice them to monetize to you versus others? It wasn't very clear.
I think my top 2 is the Terminal 3 and the Morpheus Labs. I mean, I share the same concern about the Terminal 3. The ideas is great. I mean, the scalability potential is huge if that can be realized. And I think the Morpheus Lab is that they have a very good channel partners. They have a very good traction. They've been forming partnerships with those big techs. So I think that the downstream commercialization shouldn't be a big problem if we want to monetize the business model. So I rank the Morpheus Labs and the Terminal 3 the top 2. But I mean, the Custonomy, I must struggle to understand the end-to-end business model, so I didn't rank them the top 2, but they are my top 3. Yeah.
I will also suggest Terminal 3 because they chose a very good and hot project about decentralized storage, because also very famous Web3 industry like ByteDance also developing their decentralized storage as a greenfield. Yeah, they're already online for the testnet. So compare with the traditional CEX, centralized exchange and the decentralized storage is another future very important project. So I think Terminal 3 can have show about more about their stress on this part. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with what a lot of the judges on the left side of me were saying. I think in the 5 minutes that they had, they didn't really explain their proposition well. So for sort of those of us that have not looked into decentralized storage as much, I think it's difficult to explain exactly how the differences between Web 2 and Web 3 are in terms of where the value proposition sits. I think that they could have done a better job, but from a perspective of the future potential, I think they still were on the right direction, but need to have more use cases, more traction, and better demonstrate that perspective.
Yeah, I think all three of them, T3, Custonomy, Morpheus, are all good companies, and their presentations are good. I personally would pick Morpheus and Custonomy because their tractions are better, but T3 is definitely a very interesting company as well.
Yeah, I think they are sort of more of a Web3 native sort of use case out of the ones that we're seeing here. And definitely still a lot of uncertainties in which they can really turn profitable, like similar to many other like popular Web3 projects as well. But yeah, I think they've presented some very like hot sort of ideas in terms of, as Kevin just mentioned as well, on the decentralized storage side, and also empowering like users to like monetize on their data. But yes, I've been seeing some other use case which actually maybe not as broad as what Terminal 3 is doing. Maybe let's say narrow it down to more of platform solely for, let's say, on some sort of content sharing or whatsoever, then that might work better and might be easier to understand. And for their projects, it seems a little bit more generic in the sense that what they are looking to do. So yeah, still a really good choice, I would say.
Great. I actually think since we said it's flexible, we can pick all three to go forward because I think there's quite a consensus. Nobody mentioned anything about the bottom three, so we won't spend too much time on the bottom three. And then if everyone agrees, I think we can have. Yep. Also, Kevin from us on Zoom, we would love to hear your views as well. Sorry for neglecting you.
Nice to see you, Cindy. Yeah, no, I'm pretty much aligned. I'll just say that Morpheus, out of all of the presentations, I think they mentioned was that they were able to decrease costs and delivering time. And so their track record seemed quite impressive. With Custonomy, they were the only ones that really addressed, out of the scoring grid, the social impact. I think they were very detailed in addressing the SDG goals like 9, 10, 13, and then Terminal, my only concern is all of the regulatory aspects of being able to share that data. It's not very clear to me how they will navigate through that. But I do agree that these three seem to have the most clear pitch in terms of, in that very short 5 minutes, you really don't have much time to convey your ideas. And I think they did the best job.
Great, thank you so much, and thank you so much for our judges. I think if we're in agreement, we'll go with the top three to move forward to the next round, and then results will be announced in September. Thank you so much.